Okay, welcome. It is a brand new year, 2024, and I've said it's the year for more. Go ahead and type more in the chat box, guys. 2024 is the year for more. It is expansion year, the first Monday Mindset Call for 2024, and I'm so super excited for the things that we are about to rebuild. The brick by brick, guys. This year is a year of expansion. Every single thing that we have been manifesting for last year, the last 5 years, 10 years before, I believe that this year there's going to be some fruit. There's going to be a harvest to all of the seeds that has been sown. And I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but I've never said this before because I've never been led, to say last year was a year of miracles. And we know that it's a miracle that some of us are still here alive, to come into this new year. But this year, I honestly believe that this is the year of expansion. I believe that this is the year for more. I believe that this is the year that some of us, especially those of us that have been battling for a long time, those of us that have been in a certain season for a very long time, we are about to see a breakthrough. We are about to see a manifestation that has never happened before. I think that if you're somebody who has previously lost, there's going to be double for your trouble. If you're somebody that has previously had something stolen from you, it will be returned. If you're somebody that has had, you've had an identity crisis, or there's something that you've lost a part of yourself, I believe that this year there's going to be an expansion in confidence. If you're somebody on this call that has had a battle and you've been fighting this war, I want to remind you that the war isn't yours. The battle isn't yours. That this year, that battle will be over and you will have won the war. I am excited about this expansion year, guys. But I had a download, today and last night, and it was a download that was saying, remind the people that they have to do their part as well. Remind the people that there's a part that we have to play. You see, when Abraham was going to go off and, be the father of many nations, first thing he had to do was he had to leave so that he could lead. Sometimes what we're doing is we're holding on to things that we should have let go a long time ago. And that prevents us from receiving the expansion that God has for us. And so today we're here to talk about, expansion, but in particular, we're looking at time, the resource of time. And when I was studying this and I was looking at this, there's really two things in life that you can't control. And for those of you that are taking notes, write this down. The two things that I can't control is time and change. Okay? Time and change. These are two things that we cannot control. The two most difficult components to manage is time and change. And so whether we liked it or not, whether we prayed against it or not, this new year had to come. The new year is now coming. 2025 is now coming. And so we cannot control time. I would even say that, a person's life, the outcome of a person's life is determined by how they manage time and how they use time and how they deal with change. We become who we are. The results that we have is based on how we use time, how we manage change. I believe that the key to our future, the key to the future successes is going to be based on how we manage time and change. You see, one of the things we can't do, guys, is we cannot stop time. Anyone on here can stop time? Let me know. You can't stop time. You can't stop change. Things are changing all the time. You can't stop it. Someone say, I can't stop it. Because the minute we realize that, one of the things, I say about my mum, she cannot deal with change. If she's prepared an outfit and it starts raining and it didn't say on the TV that it's going to rain, she's going to have a whole fit. She is literally going to be angry, like, oh, I'm like, why are you getting angry over something you can't change? You can't control if it rained or not. I don't care if the weatherman said it rained or the weatherman said it's not going to rain. The fact is it's raining and you can't stop it. You can't. But being angry about things or delaying things or getting frustrated about things that you can't stop or you can't change, it hurts us. We become who we are. We are a product of how we manage and utilize time and changes. Who we become in 10 years' time will be determined by how we manage time and changes. Can you guys see a theme of what I'm saying? Time and changes. How many times have you planned for something and it changed, or there's been a change of plan and it has frustrated you to the point where you have not done anything? You're like, oh, do you know what? Screw it. I'm not going anymore. I can't be asked now. Have you ever done that? I've done that. I'm just talking about me. Has something changed and you're like, oh God, no, I'm not doing it. How easy are you to throw in the towel when changes come? Are you somebody that is adverse to change? You know, I read somewhere that great leaders know how to adapt quickly to change. And change is inevitable. It really is, guys. And it's annoying sometimes because it's like you have a plan and then the plans change. Have you ever driven home, especially where I live like 2 hours away from, you know, London, where I do most of my events. And I put the details in the sat nav and I'll speak to Anton. And I'm like, yeah, I'll be home by 11. And then I get to a certain place on the motorway every single time. And the buggers have put a diversion on. And I got to go all the way around, all the way around, all the way around. And I planned in my mind, okay, I'm going to get in the bath by 11:30. Like, I planned it. And then I've had to adjust. Does it mean that I'll just say, screw it, I won't get in the bath? Let me just bathe in the morning. I'm too tired. If I really want it, I'm going to do it. You see, time is one of those things that's crazy because it's like every day is coming. Like every second, like I've just spoken 5 seconds ago, that is now the past. Time is moving every day, every second, every week, every month. Every year that we have is actually a gift. Because we don't know how much time we have. You see, I believe that God has given us an assignment. He's given us a gift that He expects us to complete and to fulfill over the period of time in which we have here on this earth. Now, the thing is, none of us know how long we have. None of us know how much time we have to complete this task that God has given us to complete over our life. Some of us have, you know, we all have different gifts. We all have assignments that I believe that God has given us. And some of us on here know through the, you know, the work that we've been doing over the last 4 years, we've been here now, every single Monday, pouring into our minds. But some of us may still be figuring out, like, what is it that God really has for me? But let me just tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, and this is a big one, because sometimes I don't think we really deep hit, as the young people would say, that much, which is we don't have forever to complete it. I know this mindset is a bit heavy now, right? This is heavy. We don't have the luxury of experimenting and wasting our lives away because we don't know how long we have here on this earth. You see, one of the things that I look at is, you know, we talk about accountability mentors and, you know, setting these goals with accountability mentors. And I choose my accountability mentors very carefully, because people can only hold you accountable to things that are on the level of what they understand, right? And so I've not had a lot of accountability partners. I've not had a lot of accountability mentors, because I need to make sure that I'm aligned with people that have the results that I desire, or that can really hold me accountable to what it is that I want to achieve. But the ultimate accountability, guys, I'll tell you this right now, and I believe everyone should have an accountability partner, but like the ultimate, like the passing of this time makes us accountable to God ultimately. Because think about it, when we pass away, have we completed what we were put on this earth to do? That now makes it our life almost like when I read the word, it almost feels like a burden. It's like, yo, I need to make sure I do this thing before I pass away, because that's why I was created. And every time the end of the year comes, we sit and we think about this. I'm like, okay, cool. What have I achieved this year? You know, I'm sure everyone got to the end of the year, you know, and start to think, you know, what have I achieved this year? What's been a good thing? What do I want to increase? What do I want to think? And I've got this resources sheet that I use. And on there, it's got money, time, people, and skills. And I asked myself on there, how have I utilized the money that I've had coming in? What have I done with my money? How have I increased it? How have I saved it? How have I spent it? And I break that down. That's one part of resource, because people think resources is just money. Your resources is your network as well. Who do you have around you? Who do you pour? I said, who's poured into me this year? Who have I poured into this year? And do you remember a couple of weeks ago, I gave you this homework, or is that the VIPs? I can't remember, to write down a list of all the people that need you, and to write down the list of all the people that feed you, and to determine I knew which list was going to be longer, because especially you all on this call, you guys like to pour out to people. But the question is when you look at that list, can you really find some people that feed you? When you look at that list, can you really find, audiobooks or maybe YouTube's or a person, a mentor that's actually feeding you to help you to go back and feed those that you serve? And so I'm looking at my 4 bits, and I had who needs me, who feeds me. And then I moved over to my resources, the skill sets. What am I going to do to invest in myself? I worked out last year. I had a low year of investment. The year before last year, I spent around 60,000 on my personal development. Last year was only around 30. And so I was like, okay, I need to make sure I invest in myself more this year. This is going to be a big year for me. I'm manifesting. I've spoken it. I know it's already done. I'm that 100,000 a month year is here. This 100,000 a month is coming this year. And so if I want that, I've got to make sure I'm doing the equivalent, the right proportion of my personal development. I've got to be in the right rooms. I've got to be around the right people. Right? So, and then I went to this time section. And I said, how much time have I wasted? How much time have I wasted watching television? How much time have I wasted being around the wrong people? How much time have I wasted deliberating my self-worth? How much time have I wasted just not playing it the way I should be? Not playing it big, but playing small. How much time have I wasted even like the year before, I wasted so much time convincing people things. And I vowed this year not to do it. And I was really proud of myself because I haven't wasted time. Like anytime I feel like there's a conversation which I'm having to justify my self-worth, I run. But the year before, I realized that I did it a lot. So I put it down to make sure I didn't do it again. And I wanted to give myself a pat on the back for that. I was like, okay, yeah, cool. You no longer justify yourself to anybody. It's just, it doesn't happen. How much time have I wasted in being around things that don't interest me? Like the year before that, I used to say yes to things I really should have said no to. How much time have I been involved in habits that don't edify my mind or my body? And guys, I tell you, that's where the Jump in January challenge came, because I saw my stomach. I was like, yo, is she having a baby? No, she's not. It's just the food she'd been eating. You see, your self-evaluation is so important, because when you have that honest conversation with yourself, and I urge you, here's your homework. You do it too. Ask yourself these questions around the resources you have available. How much time have you wasted? How much money have you wasted? How much, are you utilizing the network that you have? Do you have the right mentorship? Do you have the right people? Are you just around people that just want to take and take and take? And I realized 2 years ago that I spent so much time pouring into people because I didn't believe that I deserved it, like to be poured into. And I definitely didn't believe that there was anybody crazy enough to mentor me. But I had to say to myself, I love myself enough, right? So here are the 4 resources: time, money, people, and skills. What are the skills you're going to improve? What skill sets are you going to work on? Let me see if I can get my note up. Job 14:5 says, man's days are determined. Do you know what that means? You don't decide how long you live. Your life is on a time limit. Hey, yo, you guys, I don't even know where this warning, this is a warning mindset today. I don't know where it's coming. You guys still with me? You are still awake? Speaking to me too, guys. Your life is on a time limit. We're here on earth for a certain time to do what he needs us to do. 777 if you're still here. So question is what are you going to do with this new year that God has given you? Wow. We've got 11 months left. Like when you come onto these mindset calls, are you coming on for entertainment? Or are you coming on to really get your house in order? You coming on to get your mind right? Because here's the thing. I don't want to pass away. I don't want to, like, I don't be heavy with you guys, but I don't want to die wishing that, or on the last ladders and say, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I go all out? I was listening to, you guys know I love listening to that Kobe Bryant clip that I play sometimes. And he said he was putting all in because he didn't want to get to the end of his career and he wished he went harder. So every new chapter, this is a new chapter, it's a new, 2024 we're talking about here. It's another chance for us to manage the time and changes that we get exposed to. And then come the end of the year, we're going to ask ourselves, well, how did I do? How did we do it? And so I was looking at these 4 resources, and then I got to the bottom part where I actually say to myself, what was you able to do? And I was speaking to one of my sisters just before we got on this call, and I said, you know what? God is great. Because I only started doing this last year, guys, where I started to have this conversation with myself. And within a short period of time, in 2023, I launched a book, the women's retreats, the workshops, the VIP community, an NFT, a new network marketing business. And I traveled to 7 countries. whilst putting my kids through private school. Now, I'm not saying that to boast. I'm saying radically, in 1 year, like, I don't know if anyone's going to receive this prophecy that I'm going to give to somebody right now, because you keep saying next year. Oh, I'll qualify 5 years, or maybe in 2 years, or maybe in I want to let you guys know this, that whatever you write down for your goals, or if you've already written them down, how you manage the time and the changes that come to you will determine if those things get done, not if you're qualified or not. Because I know that the word says that he qualifies the called. So when you're busy playing it small, when you're busy telling yourself, I need more time, you don't need more time, sis. You got to manage the time that you have, bro. You don't need more stability. I wait for things to sort themselves out. No, changes are happening all the time. How many of you have ever heard someone say, well, when things sort themselves out? When do things ever sort themselves out? It's an excuse. You become who you are by how you utilize the same 24 hours that every single one of us have that are living on this earth. But that was last year, guys. I'm not going to sit here on last year's successes. This is a new year. So whilst most people were sleeping, saying, oh, we've just come out of a pandemic, we need to do this, I was working. So you get to decide whether you're going to sleep or whether you're going to work. I don't know who that's for. Time and change. These things are raw materials. They're raw materials of life, and you have to decide how you're going to utilize them, because you cannot stop them. They're just going to keep happening. They're building blocks for everyone. Time is a building block, okay? No one is special. No one gets more time. No one gets less time. Time, boom, is going to keep happening. It's going to keep happening. It's going to keep happening. It's going to keep happening. We're all given this 24 hours, and we are all subject to changes. All of us. But you become who you are by how you utilize your time. This year, my hope and my wish is that every single one of us on this call today can become professional when it comes to utilizing our time and changes. You know, you guys, I mentor, you know, I mentor a lot of people, guys. And I tell you this, I've never had a mentorship call where someone has not mentioned time or change. Oh my God, Nikki, I haven't done this because this happened and I wasn't expecting it and that happened. And guys, someone says to me, Nikki, you mean to say you've been doing this mindset call every single Monday for 4 years? Yes. Do you guys think that there's never been any changes or there's never been anything that's happened on a Monday? I don't know if Mr. Gary Dixon is here. Yes, he is. He's still on the call. Do you remember that Monday where changes were happening? There was attacks left, right, and center, and I did the mindset call in the car. And when I came on in the car, God gave us a word that day that was like, yo, we didn't even need the computer. We came on the phone. Gary, do you remember that? We came on the phone.
Yep, do remember that, yeah.
I didn't even have my face on the camera. I was like, we will not be defeated. I am going on. And I didn't talk about what we were going to talk about. God just took over that call, and it was insane. And I remember calling Gary and I was like, sir, can you open up the call because I'm driving? It just is. And whatever success looks like for you in your life, that success will be determined on how you manage your time. So stop wasting time. Tell yourself, I must stop wasting time. Planning. You got to plan to win. And it's okay to start again, guys. Don't let anybody fool you and say that they are perfect or say they've never had to start again. I don't care. So what, the business failed last year? So what, your relationship failed and you got to start again. It is okay to start again. Give yourself permission to start again. In this year of expansion, get a diary, get a planner, put it on your wall, get a big board, start to, on the other side of this board, I ain't going to show you, but on the other side of the board is daily plans. For me, my family, we have plans on the back of this board. You have to start becoming a professional at planning your life. Doesn't mean changes aren't going to happen. No, but you got to be intentional, yo. Do you know what you're going to do tomorrow? Do you know what's going to happen? Like, have you planned out your success, whatever success may be? I'm going to give you some principles to planning. Okay, it's principles to planning. First of all, you got to plan your priorities. Write that down. A lot of people, they write things down that are not priorities. You're planning, like, I was looking at No Shade, right? Because I love her. One of my mentees. She was like, she sent me her plan. The plan said, like, wake up, brush teeth. Girl, even if that wasn't in your plan and you gonna brush your teeth, yes, I don't need to plan brushing your teeth because I would hope that that's gonna happen anyway. Right? Plan your priorities. And that may sound crazy, but some of you putting things in the plan, like pick up the kids from school. Are you gonna forget to pick up the kids from school? Like, for real, for real. I mean, I've done that a few times. I could lie. Lord, confession is good for the soul. But you know what I mean? Plan your priorities. Plan your priorities. Right? It's important to understand that, you know, change, it can't be avoided. If you're going to live your life hoping that things won't happen and hoping that changes don't happen, you're going to be tormenting yourself, because change, it has to happen. Do you guys agree? Put a 7 in the chat if you agree. Change has to happen. You cannot avoid change. No human. Listen, changes happen for animals. Changes happens for plants. Changes happen. Even if you put your foot in Hastings Beach, you put your foot in that water, I wouldn't advise it, but you put your foot in that water and you take it out and put it back in again, you will never put your foot back in the same spot. Why? Because it's changing. It's always changing. You cannot avoid change. And some of us need to hear that more than once, because this is how it's always been, Nikki. I'm waiting for my boss to do this and I'm waiting for this, but you can't. You can't, guys. You just can't. You cannot stop change. You can't even control it. All you can do is manage yourself during changes. We got to get that into our minds. Change is something we have to live with. You can't run away from it. And if you cannot manage change, you will not be able to manage life. That is a fact, guys. And I think one of the things I've learned, you know, and I pride myself in, is my mindset is bulletproof, yo. You would never know some of the things. You know, I tell you this, and I've shared this before, but I don't know who needs to hear this on this call, and I didn't plan to say this, but let me tell you this. 3 years ago, I actually had a suicidal attempt on a Monday. Now, this was crazy because this was in my height of career. I was making $25,000 a month. We'd moved into our new home. My husband was amazing. My children were amazing. We had no problems, like on paper. I mean, you have your little stuff, but there was nothing. On paper, life was good. And I was in my bedroom, and there was this spirit that said, jump out the window and kill yourself. This is the mindset mentor. This is the person that's so strong. This is the person that's mentoring thousands of people across the world who was, listen, let me tell you something. Before that moment, I was saying to people, I used to say, you know, committing suicide is a selfish act because you're not going to be there to feel it for your family that are going to be crying. I used to say, you know, it's a weak option. I used to look at it as, you know, like if you love God and if you have a connection with God and and I used to judge people that would have these suicidal moments. I never had a suicidal moment ever before. And praise God, I've never had one since. And so I'm in my heights of everything. And as I've gone to the bathroom. I've literally gone into my ensuite to jump out the window, guys. My husband happened to just come upstairs. He was like, yo, what the hell are you doing? And grabbed me. And I was like, mercy. And I sat there and I was like, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. And I started to do the work to find out why. But let me tell you the point of the story. Do you know what happened after that? I sat on the bed. At the time, he wasn't my mentor, Dr. David Imonitie. I thought, oh. And he spoke to me and he said, Nikki, you are not successful until you are fulfilled, or at least fulfilling the purpose that you have in your life. Now, he did not know that I just had this suicidal moment. I had messaged him and I was like, I don't know what's going on with me, but I need to talk. And I was embarrassed. I didn't want to say that I had this suicidal moment, but he didn't realize that what he said saved me that day. He said, Nikki, you got to find your purpose. You got to find why God put you on this earth, because money, success, this and that and this and that will not fulfill you. You keep telling yourself, when I get more money, when I've been able to quit my job, when I get the husband. Listen, guys, my husband is amazing. People on paper would say she lives in this amazing house on the beach, big house, drive that can fit 15 cars. My life is good. We're going to restaurants every week. We were living it up. Let me tell you, none of that will solve anything if you don't understand the purpose in which you are built for in this earth. You have to discover your purpose. Once you discover it, you then need to understand how to develop it and put it in the right areas. And then you got to understand how to deploy it out into the world. And I learned that from Dr. Luke, because I went on to his purpose masterclass because I need to find out about this purpose thing, because yo, it freaked me out. But that was 4 o'clock in the evening. You know what I did at 9 p.m.? 9 p.m. that same Monday. And Mr. Gary will tell you, because he was on a call. I came on this call and I performed that mindset call. When the enemy was saying, cancel the mindset. When the enemy was saying, don't do this and that. Guys, I adapt to change. I don't play around my assignment. I don't play. And at the time, I didn't even know what these mindset calls were. I didn't even know why God had called me to do these mindset calls. But there's something in me that says when I start something, when I say I'm going to do something, I have to be a woman to my word. And after that, I started to develop in my purpose. I started to understand my purpose. I started to understand. And you know what God said to me? God said that he needed to soften my heart, because there's only some things you can understand from going through it. People can empathize. But until you've been there, until you go through something, there's only so much that people can understand. So he said, listen, Nikki, I needed to use you to go through that so you can connect with another sister who may have been suicidal, for you to be able to connect to another sister and say, don't you dare jump. How about you give it another go? But this time we help to discover your purpose. The reason why you're suicidal is because you don't see the future, because when you're ready to give up, it's because you don't see a future for yourself. And the future is your purpose. You living in your purpose is the future. People who give who commit suicide because they no longer believe in the future. So if you are connected to your purpose, if you understand that there's a reason for your being, it's not, I didn't come on here to say this, guys, but I don't know who needs to understand that you have to adapt to change. You got to plan. You got to schedule in time for your personal development. If you haven't already set an alarm on your phone for 9 p.m. every Monday, please do so. We're here. And as long as God blesses me to be here, I'm going to show up. As long as God blesses me to, to host these calls, I will be showing up. And let me tell you this, guys. Life is very simply just managing lots of changes. Lots of changes that happen on a daily basis. And sometimes I know there can be so many changes, it can feel overwhelming. They're like, oh God, if I see one more thing, Lord, how much more? But change, sometimes, right? I tell you this, and I was saying it to somebody today, that this battery effect, and every time something supposedly negative happens, I remember the battery. And the battery is you can't have a negative without a positive. Life is about positive and negative. And so right now we're doing the Jump in January challenge, where we're all posting about, keeping ourselves healthy, those losing weight, those putting on weight, those taking those products to be able to, in order to get to the end result. That's the positive. But the negative of that is you've got to sweat. You've got to do the work. You've got to go through some pain. Now, the pain that you may be feeling at the moment, if I remind you of the battery, because the word says that everything works out for my good. You see the way I shamed the enemy just then? You see, they wanted me to feel bad for like the attempt of suicide. They wanted me to feel like I was the lowest of the low. But you see, when you open your mouth and you begin to speak how great God is, who do you think spoke to my husband to come up the stairs? Who do you think got him to come up the stairs and pull your girl away from that window at the time that he did? My God is real. He is so real. And so everything works together for the good. Because I won't be able to share that story. I couldn't share that story if that encounter didn't happen to me. And do you know how many people since that time, 3 years ago, that I have spoken to on a one-to-one basis and shared that story, and they said, Nikki, God is speaking to you right now, because I felt like I was going to end it. I felt like I was going to give up. But this was the girl that was prejudging those that felt suicidal. Can you see how God can just, listen, sometimes he lets us go through things, but it's not because of us, it's because of who we're going to help later on. Do you think Jonah was in the stomach of that whale just for no reason? Because he wanted him to go and preach to those people in Nineveh. Do you think listen, those of you that was at the retreat, do you think I learned to worship and pray in the way that you saw me worship and pray because I've had everything called perfect? There's a positive out of everything. I learned how to praise and worship through the pain. I learned how to pray. Like, I had to learn atomic prayer. Those of you that don't know, we shut it down at the retreat. I taught the ladies how to pray for different things, and we did atomic prayer. We did some praise and worship that literally, listen, mashed up the enemy on that day. If you haven't applied for the Rebuild Retreat, that's a quick plug. Link is in my bio. Go apply for that. But I didn't learn how to do those stuff because things were great, guys. I didn't learn how to, I didn't, like, the Holy Spirit begins to drop things in when you say, okay, Lord, take control. I am not going to be a control freak no more. I want to manage the check. Like, I want to control everything. Lord, you tell me what to do in my time. You tell me how to deal with change. How many of you remember when you were 15 and you could wear that size 8? Ladies, changes. Right? How many remember when you were wearing a size 8? When your hair was a little bit different? How many remember hating boys? I remember just being with my girls at school. I hate boys. I'm never getting married. I don't want kids. Changes. Anybody remember that? This is why you can't trust the past. Some of us are living in the past too much. Whether the past negative or the past positive. If I sat here and said, oh, look at all I've done last year, I ain't never going to get nothing done this year. If I start dwelling on all the people that did me wrong or family members that didn't believe in me, and I can't live in that negativity, I have to let it go. Don't live in the past. But you know what's worse than living in the past? Yo, let me tell you this, guys. The present can't be trusted either. If you sit there staring at the negative bank account, you're gonna crucify yourself. You sit there, look at your present situation. Oh my God, I'm never gonna get married. Do you know there was a time when I was like, no man ain't never gonna want me? When my baby father left me on the floor pregnant with one child, one on the way, I looked at myself and I said, ain't no one gonna pick me up. Ain't no one gonna want me. Because I was judging myself by my present situation. Your present situation cannot be trusted. Your present situation isn't where God has the biggest plan for you. You have to live in your future. You got to live in your future desires. This is why I tell you guys to write this stuff down. Look, do you think this is a joke? I have it here. I'm so happy and grateful now that I've helped 25 people earn at least $10,000 a month. I'm so happy and grateful now that my marriage is blessed, healthy, wealthy, and my children are good. Right? I've got this stuff here. The joy of the Lord is my strength. Right? I don't play around with living in my future. I'm having my future everywhere I go. Right? Audio. Conceive, believe, achieve. Right? If you haven't listened to this, you want to listen to this. This is about believing, right? Believing. You can get it on, we've got the audio inside the communities. Listen to these things that's going to help you live inside the future, right? Live inside the future. Stop living in your present, guys. Your present will trick you. That's how people live in the same cycle. Have you ever been sitting down one day and you're like, raw, it's another week. Oh my God, is it July already? Have you ever said that to yourself? Oh my God, it's a new year again. How long are you going to keep allowing these changes to happen to you instead of through you? Which means that you are now managing these changes and you're using them for the good, because that's what the word says. Everything works together for what? The good of those who what? Come on now, right? So if the changes are happening, it says everything. It doesn't say everything except the changes, right? Some of you are waiting for God knows what. Change is going to keep happening. You cannot trust your present. Let me tell you one more thing, guys. You see, the moment you decide, like you come off this school now, you're like, oh my God, I embrace my change. If my change is coming, and you go into spirit, and you come to the court, you're excited. The moment you decide that things are going to change, what's going to happen? Enemies are going to be created. Now, I'm not just talking about enemies as in physical people. I'm talking about the enemies in your mind. Oh my God, but can I really do this? Oh my God, do I have enough time though? Oh my God, work is enemies, obstacles, distractions are going to come to you, because that is the negative. Listen, remember I said there's a positive and a negative in everything. The moment you decide, what happens is by default, those enemies are going to come. But if you're prepared for it, because you say, listen, I don't care what changes happen. I don't care what happens to me. I'm showing up on the 9 p.m. Can you have that same decisiveness when you say, listen, I don't care, I'm going to show up. Put show up in the chat if you know you need to show up. I was watching this thing the other day with this woman, and they were interviewing this lady. She was a blind lady. And I believe Dr. Miles Monroe spoke about it as well. And this woman, she was blind. And the interviewer was saying to her, like, how do you, like, how do you live? Like, no eyes. Like, how do you live? Like, what could be worse than, being blind? And you know what the lady said? Having no vision, that would be worse. She said, life is a big adventure, and I would rather the big adventure than having nothing at all. In other words, she's saying, even blind, I've got a vision, and although it's scary and although it's crazy, because what would look like a disadvantage, I would rather have the disadvantage, the crazy, the scary, at the hope of my vision coming to pass, than having my eyes with no vision. That is deep. Because the word says, those who don't have any vision will what? Perish. A man without a plan shall perish. Guys, you know what perish means? That perish ain't no little light word, you know. Perish. Perish is death. Perish is done for. If you can't, this is why I had the suicidal moment. Listen, I'm reading these scriptures from a whole new level. I'm like, yo, the reason why I was suicidal is because I didn't have no vision of who it was that God had called me to be. So the money, the cars, the holidays, the lifestyle, the everything that I thought, when I provide for my children, I feel good. I didn't feel good. Because I had no vision for my life, for who God had called me to be. So you're wondering why you're in turmoil right now. You're wondering why you're frustrated right now. You're wondering why, Kirsty, that things are not aligned in the way that you'd want them to be. But God wants you to understand and know that he has a calling over your life. But you have to say, I'm ready, God. Lord, take control. Allow me to make logical decisions as opposed to emotional ones. Let me hear from you, God. Talk to me. Send me a message. To give me a dream. Do you guys think you're here for a joke? Do you think you clicked into this link today for a joke team? As the young people say, joke team. I think I'm still young, yeah, whatever. It's a joke team. Don't let me badge you lot up. There's my translation of the Bible when God is saying, fix up, look sharp. That's Dizzy Rascal, that weren't God. But you get what I'm saying, right? Some of us would rather ruin ourselves than change. Some of us would, like, I watched a Dr. Miles Monroe, and he said, he was speaking to an elderly gentleman, and he said to him, listen, boom, you need to go back and study technology, computers, right? Study computers, you got to do it. And the guy was like, oh no, I'm old. I can't be doing all that. So he went to work, and they're like, right, we're laying people off that can't use computers. You would rather ruin yourself than change. Maybe you got to study something. Maybe you need mentorship. Maybe you got to invest in yourself. But you'd rather not, you'd rather ruin yourself. So the guy was made redundant because he refused to change. And, you know, change is a theme throughout the word. It says, you know, and you guys can, you know, be ye transformed by the renewal of what? Does it say the renewal of your bank account? Does it say the renewal of your circle? Does it say the renewal of what your mama said or what your dad is? No, it says by the renewal of your mind. That means we have to change how we do things. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up, but here's I'm going to give you 8 things. Change. 8 things. Ready? Number 1. You cannot resist change. Write it down. I can't resist it. I have to accept this happening. I cannot resist change. Someone write that down. That's number 1. I can't resist it. Number 2, I can't ignore it. Some of you are like, no, it's not happening. No, it is. Technology is taking over the world. It is. You can't ignore it. Number 3, you must accept it. Accept that change is inevitable. Number 4, you must also adjust to change. 5, I cannot stop it, but I can manage how I respond to it. I cannot stop it, but I can manage how I respond to it. Number 6, I can either be a victim to it or I can manipulate it. I can either be a victim to it or I can manipulate it. What do I mean? Okay. You lost your job. Will you stay at home crying for 10 weeks about it, having a meltdown? Or will you use it as an opportunity to get a better job, to launch your business? I heard this, I can't remember where I heard it from, but there was a guy, he got a new job. He was only working there for 3 months. And he was a contractor for different places. And he was doing really well. And he went somewhere and he done a great job, came back. Boom. The 3rd month, he got fired. But he had to complete something at the previous location. So even though he went fired, his heart just said, you know, he needed to complete that thing. So when he got there, the guy was like, oh, I'm really surprised that you came, because I heard, obviously, like, why are you still here? And he's like, well, I know I'm not working there anymore, but I did promise you that I would complete that job. The guy says, you know what? I want to offer you a job here. You know what he did? He gave him double than what he was getting at the other job. Isn't it crazy how you can either sit down and cry about it, you can be a victim, or you can decide that, boom, you're going to turn that situation around. Next one, you can prepare and plan for it. You can prepare and plan for it. But here's my favorite. You want to hear my favorite, number 8? You can initiate it. What do I mean by that? You start a side hustle. So when they do fire you at work, you're like, okay, cool. I done been plan for this. In fact, you say, right? You initiate that change. You're the one that starts to call the shots over your life. Let me tell you this. If you're working right now, my advice to you is plan beyond your job. Nothing is secure right now. And the problem that we have, and I know the jobs, the system that we live in make us think like this, but we think and we hope that things are going to stay the same. Time and change are inescapable, guys. They will change. They have to. But we can initiate change. We can plan around it. I'm not going to wait for things to happen to me. I'm going to make things happen. That's the mindset that we want to have. And I'm determined that whatever happens in my life is going to be successful. So what, baby father left me? So what, my job's pressuring me because I don't care what happens. I'm going to resist. I'm going to understand I can't resist change. I know I can't ignore it. I'm going to accept that change is happening. I'm going to adjust for it. I'm going to manage it because I know I can't stop it. I'm not going to be a victim. I'm going to manipulate that change. Whatever happens, I'm going to twist it and turn it around for my good. I know that I can prepare and plan for it. I'm not going to sit down and wait for somebody to take it away from me. And I know I'm going to initiate change. I'm going to be the one that's online telling people, listen, we're going to start a Jumping January challenge. Hey, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. I'm a game changer. How many of you on this call know that it's time for you to unleash now? It's time for you to say, you know what? Enough is enough. I'm not sitting down anymore feeling sorry for myself. I'm not playing small no more. I'm going to get up. I'm not listening to those voices that are telling me I'm not good enough. I am going to do it. I'm going to do it anyway. It may not be perfect, but I'm going to launch something. I know that this 12 months, something radical can happen. It's the year of expansion. It's the year of expansion. I'm done playing small. I'm done not feeling like I'm good enough. I am good enough. And so I'm going to put myself around people that can affirm me that I'm good enough. I'm going to put myself around people that forever help me to lift myself up and level up. I'm going to put myself in that position. I'm tired of looking at the dead bank account. Let me tell you this. I don't need to talk about money, because when you be that person that God has called you to be, money's going to chase you down. Someone says to me, Nikki, what do you do to chase money? I said, I don't chase money. I attract money. Money is attracted to me. I'm getting phone calls all day, every day. Nikki, can you do this? Nikki, can you do this? I'm having to turn things down. I am a magnet for money. Because when you work on yourself, when you become the person that is attractive to who it is that God has called you to be, you ain't going to have to beg for bread, ladies and gentlemen. You ain't going to have to worry about where the next pound is coming from. People are going to be laying down. They're like literally laying down on the floor by your feet saying, hey, can you come do this job for me? Hey, can you do this? Because you're oozing that gift. You're oozing who God called you to be. I'm sharing this with you guys because 3 years ago, my life was completely different. 7 years ago, mighty heavenly, when he walked out on me, I didn't know that my husband was around the corner. Baby father, listen, I was a baby mother turned wife. Someone can receive that. I thought the best I could get was being somebody's baby mama. And in the same season, I was wifey. You know why? Because everything works together for your good. Everything. And I'm so grateful for the journey. I wouldn't change a second of it. In fact, if God had told you in advance all the things that you had to go through in order for you to get to where he wants you to, some of you right now would be like, no, Lord, let me just live mediocre. If I'd have heard all the things he would have put me through, mighty God. But I'm going to conclude on this. Whoever desires constant success must understand that you have to have good relationship with constant change of your environment. If your desire is to get married, your desire is to have a business, your desire is to be promoted, your desire is to be a good mom, your desire is to be a great dad, whatever your desire is, if you desire to be massively successful in that area, then you have to understand, you will know, you must change your conduct to accept that changes in your environment are inevitable. Because if you don't change during the change, you will suffocate. This is a direct warning, guys. You will. You will literally suffocate. You have to change during the change. I'll give you an example. I want to wrap it up here. But I'll give you this example. When we talk about timing, I remember when I first launched my business, I was doing them in living rooms. I didn't have enough money to do events. I didn't have money to afford to do hotels and meetings. I was doing this in living rooms. And so because it was in living rooms and I had such a small team, I knew everyone by name. We would speak on the phone. We had everyone's numbers and we would be talking. And we was all singing Kumbaya. I could remember everyone's birthdays and message in the chat, happy birthday, everyone. And with it. But as changes began to happen, we grew 100, 500, 1,000, 2,000. And so now Nikki's, boom. Now, the people that failed to adhere to changes, she think, nah, she don't have no time for us no more. You know, she's not coming to living rooms no more. No, change, boo. Change. And so you're busy being disgruntled because of changes. It's not that Nikki don't love you no more. It's not that Nikki is not the same Nikki anymore. Well, it is the same. I'm not the same Nikki. We change. And so instead of being disgruntled, you got to understand evolution. There's going to be evolution and timing. Is there a time where God may say, okay, Monday mindset? I don't know. But we're here now, right? We're here today. We're here today. And we can't allow the fear of change to stop us from taking massive action. So with that being said, guys, I am so excited for the changes that's about to happen for our good this year. I understand that it won't be plain sailing because I know that negative comes with positive and positive comes with negative. But I also understand that the word cannot lie, and it's the year of expansion. And so the only way we don't get expansion, guys, is if we run away from the change and we don't manage the time in which we have been given. And I want to encourage every single person on this call right now to complete the homework. Ask yourself, what are you going to achieve this year? Like, really, really. How did you manage your time? How did you manage your resources? And what are you targeting yourself to do differently as you go into this year of expansion? I'm so super excited to be working with you all in this capacity, all right? You also know that I have a VIP community. Those of you that are VIP, you already know we have a masterclass this week, I believe. The masterclass is on Thursday. Someone tell me if that is right. Thursday, 7 p.m. Right? We have a masterclass this week. If you're not a part of, Thursday the 11th, that's correct, 7 p.m. Make sure your alarms are for the VIP community. There is a VIP community, is a women-only community, the Rebuild VIP. It's a separate from the main chat that we're in. And we are on sale at the moment for $17.77 per month. Come the 1st of February, the price goes up. Okay, so we are in January sale right now. And those that are in, they are grandfathered into the same price. And this is where we work a little bit deeper. Okay. And we also have our event, guys, on the 27th of January for women only, is from 2 till 6. And then we have a mixed bag 6 till 8. Okay. So if you are coming, the link is in my bio for that. That's in London on the 27th. The rebuild.co.uk is where you can get your ticket. The event is called Girl, Get Your Money Up, where we're going to talk about the psychology behind money and all of that niceness, as well as, business opportunity from 6 till 8. Okay. So definitely go ahead and look for that. I am so excited about how God has literally worked through my life to be a physical manifestation to you guys, that you could be one place a year and completely different the following year. And if God can do it for me, guys, I am no special than you are in God's eyes. If he can do it for me, he can do it for you as well. And that's what I'm teaching the ladies inside the VIP community, the blueprint to what I actually did. Because let me tell you this, you can pray about it, but then you have to make sure that you pay for what you pray for. And when I say that, I mean, you pay the full sacrifice, you pay the full price to get to those results. You need strategy, okay? And so that's what we're going to be talking about on Thursday, and really going into, the relationship side of things and visions, okay? So that's the Rebuild VIP, the event on the 27th. And also as well, those of you, well done for the Jump in January challenges. I'm seeing all of your, this is week 2. If you're not a part of the Jump in January, challenge, please join in. It's free. You don't have to pay anything. As long as you're inside that Telegram group, you just want to follow the rules and just start to post you working out, post you doing your prayers, coming onto this mindset call. You guys should all have your screenshot of this mindset call that you've been on it. Make sure you tag me in as well. I'm seeing you guys have started a dancing challenge. I may have to jump on that dancing challenge. I'm going to be on there seeing you guys. It's phenomenal. Please tag me in as well. Let me know that you've been on tonight's mindset call. And also, can you do me a favor? Those of you in the Rebuild community, if you can put your top 5 takeaways of this call in the Rebuild community section, but also inside the Telegram as well, so we can see it in both places. And if you can put your top 5 takeaways in the Telegram chat, that would be phenomenal. I read each and every one of them, guys. And it's just a way of you letting me know that you took something from today's session. And those of you in the network marketing business, again, in the Envision You Discord, put your top 5 takeaways, and also inside the Telegram community. Listen, guys, I tell you this, God is good. He's good all the time. He loves you. And just in case nobody has told you that today, I love you as well. And I believe that each and every one of us, we are going to rebuild bigger, better than ever before. Brick by brick, guys. This year is the year of expansion. Go ahead and unmute yourself before you say goodbye, because, you know, I believe that every single one of us, you know, we should never enter somewhere without our voices being heard. So let's go, let's go, let's go. Unmute yourself, guys. Sorry, I think I just muted you back. Unmute yourself, guys. Lovely to have you all on today. God bless you. God bless you.
God bless you.
God bless you, everyone.
God bless you, Nikki.
Okay,
God
bye,
bless you, ladies.
everyone.
Bye.
Great week,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Nikki.
Bye-bye.
Bless
God
you.
bless.
Bye.
Bye,
Love you lots,
everyone.
guys.
Yes.
Same
Love you
time.
too. Bye,
Love
guys.
you. Bye.
Love you.
Bye.